Ad spend is the amount of money they're going to spend, not necessarily how creative it is. So I think basically the government has to make cuts all over the place, and advertising in every instance is meant to be very, very visible, of course, otherwise it wouldn't work. And so in cutting it, they're demonstrating to ordinary people that they're being frugal. What they could be doing is actually more targeted stuff, which actually utilises the confusion that everyone feels and does something with it to reassure them. And I think that's where they would benefit from doing more creative stuff. So I think the message of cutting ad spend is great. I don't think they should cut creativity. Yeah, there's a great quote from a scientist, I think it's Rutherford, the nuclear scientist. He said, "We have no money, so we'll have to think." So I believe that sometimes the smaller the budget and the more constraints, or the tighter the brief, then the more creative we are, and the more resourceful we are in what we do. But loosely talking, we're talking about ideas, and we're talking about execution. So you can have a great idea, which could be money making, or you could have a great idea combined with a brilliant execution, which could be even more successful, or you can have an execution which doesn't necessarily do anything. You probably know the Swan Bester matches, where they employed a consultant to come in and say, how can we save our business by reducing the manufacture of our matchboxes? And he looked at it and he said, well, only have a strike on one side rather than on the two sides. So that to me is a great idea. No execution, no nothing. I think the biggest problem in our industry is we don't separate ideas from execution. The whole kind of ROI thing needs to be unpacked, because we're talking about return on investment. So essentially, what do we get from the money that we're spending? Yeah. So the question is, what do we want, first of all? Let's outline what it is we're looking for. So if we're looking for responses, then how are we going to get those responses from the money which we're going to spend? But what we could be looking for is more of an emotional feeling. And I think that's the bit where it becomes very, very vague, because we're in an area where everything's being measured on response, but we know that you can build brands through work that actually gets a response as well, especially in the online area. I think we've become obsessed with money, which is a terrible shame, and just look at the way we all despise bankers. I think that the whole mood of the world is changing. So I never really been that interested in making a huge profit for my clients, if I'm completely honest. I know that's what they're interested in, but I think there's a huge social and moral responsibility that we all have. And what we should remember is that we exist in a community. Brands exist as part of a community. If all they're interested in profits is just creating profit, and they ride roughshod over the people who they coexist with, then they deserve to fail. And likewise, we're creative thinkers, but we're just people who are doing a job. And we still are people who have families and live in communities, so we should take responsibility for our actions.